Today, we're going to look at Bitcoin. And one of the major things in 2021 that was searched on Google was the question, what is a Bitcoin? In today's video, I'm going to go in great detail and explain to you what exactly a Bitcoin is, how it came into existence, and how the whole system of the cryptocurrency works. But before we understand cryptocurrency, we need to understand the current system right now that is in existence, that is working. And we need to look at the history of how that came into existence and how over time, it has evolved and changed from what it was to what it will become. And in order to understand that, I'm going to go through in this video in quite detail every single aspect. So by the end of this video, you will have a complete understanding of what a Bitcoin is and how the cryptocurrency market works and how you will trade on Binance in order to make a profit. So without further ado, let's start. What is a Bitcoin? Now, the basic understanding what a lot of people tend to have and ask the question is, what is Bitcoin? But before we go into Bitcoins, I want to explain and show you what is actually money. Now, money over a period of time, we have represented in many different ways. But in reality, the core of it is that money actually represents value. People who tend to have more money tend to have more value through which they can buy a lot of things. But paper money, as we know it, was not something that always existed. Back in the day, different things were being used in order to exchange for goods and services, such as salt or wheat or shells. And of course, gold and silver is something that we all have been, that we all know about. And quite recently, one of the major resources that was known to be black gold, oil, was something also that was being used. So different resources over a period of time have been valuable and are expensive, which cause them to be, things that could be used for exchange of goods and services. But where did the essence of paper money come into existence? Now, basically, paper money, humanity understood that they couldn't actually carry gold and silver in such huge amounts. They couldn't carry bags of wheat or salt with them to exchange goods or services. So they had to have something which represented the value of the salt, which represented the value of the gold, or which represented the value of the silver or the copper or the oil. And that value was one piece of paper that they pitched it against. So basically, if anyone said that they had that piece of paper, it would be, of course, of that value. So paper money came into existence. The mechanism, like I explained to you, is that a bank or government would offer to take possession of your bar of gold. And let's say that bar of gold is worth $1,000. And in return, the bank would actually give you certificates or paper money, which we call bills right now in certain amounts of $1,000. But it was easy to carry this. It was, you could spend it and you wouldn't have to cut your gold into different pieces to buy coffee or go for groceries, anything like that. So paper became the main thing to go for. And paper came into existence that way. And paper money was pitched against it. So basically, back in the day, whoever had some possession went to the government or went to a bank and handed over their possessions and said, listen, keep this safe so it doesn't get lost or doesn't get stolen, and you give us a piece of paper against it. So basically, at any one time, a lot of people went to the bank or went to the government and paid them and gave them their possession. And against that possession, they gave them a piece of paper claiming that this is how much they had and they could use that piece of paper to exchange for goods and services. Now, what happened? What happened is something that is very important. Basically, over a period of time, the government and bank understood one aspect, that they could use those possessions that they had and actually trade in it themselves. So if you look back in the day when there was a credit crunch or when there was banks went bankrupt, and we had a lot of issues back in 2006 and around 2004 to 2006, everyone all of a sudden went to the bank and said, give us our money. Now, when everyone went to the bank and said, give us our money, the bank never had that money. The bank is always using and moving that money around and making more money upon the money that you actually have in your account. The number that display on your bank account when you go to an ATM and they show you that this is how much you have is just a digital number. That actually doesn't exist in your bank account. So if everyone at this moment in time actually went to their bank and asked for the money back, the bank would go bankrupt. It would not have that much money because it was never in existence. Now, basically, this is the main concept what came into existence. Right now, as we speak in today's time, Paper money is not pitched against anything. And that is something that we need to understand. And that is the basic fundamental principle upon which cryptocurrency is built. That right now, the dollar, the euro, the rupee, the yen, any currency you take for a matter is not pitched against anything. Certain currency are pitched against the dollar. The dollar is pitched against the power of the United States, or the power of the government, the word of the government, how strong the government is. If the government decides to take all their cash out or declare that the dollar is no longer useful, it will only be a piece of paper that you have. The value of that piece of paper would mean nothing. And that is the true essence, because that is why people say always invest your money in land or resources, strong resources. Now, all of this is called fiat money, the paper. And fiat is a Latin word that means by decree, meaning that dollars or euros or any other currency for that matter have value because the government ordered it to do. And it's what is known as a legal tender. Coins or banknotes that may be accepted and offered as payments. So the value of today's money is actually come from a legal status given to it by a central authority, in this case, the government. And so the trust model has changed from trusting something to trusting someone. So back in the day, we trusted the gold, the silver, the coal, the oil, the diamonds, something that actually had value. And by trusting something, we move to trusting someone. So we trust the government. If the government changes tomorrow, if something happens to the government, the value of the money that you have in the bank account, the cash, the paper that you have at your homes would actually be worth nothing but a piece of paper. That is it. Nothing more than that. And that was the main trouble that came into existence. Now, the fiat money has drawbacks. It is centralized. It is not limited by quantity. What does that actually mean? Now, it is not limited by quantity literally means that you can print as much money as you want. And all of it is controlled by the central bank. If the central bank decides to print more money, you can print more money. And that is where the whole dynamics of inflation comes into existence. If the government prints more money and pushes and uses that money to do buyouts or bailouts or give that money or increase the price of things, that value that you have of money in essence in your account actually goes down. So a prime example is if something is costing $100 to buy and you have $100 in your account, and all of a sudden the value of that increases to $110, but your value of 100 has decreased against that. So basically you will not be able to buy that good or service for $110 because you do not have 10 more dollars. Your value of money has decreased. So what you could have bought for $100 10 years ago, you cannot buy it right now. And if you look at your life and you look back from 5 years or 10 years ago, the amount of goods and services that we could buy if you go to the grocery store and fill up your trolley with, it has significantly decreased. So a value of $100 or 100 rupees or 100 euros or 100 yen 5 years ago compared to today is significantly less because the value of money has decreased. Now, this is the main problem that we tend to have. And why does the value of money actually decrease is a question that comes to existence. And this is a problem which cryptocurrency solves. Now, digital money comes into existence. Now, digital money, what has happened? Now, if you look back about 3 years ago, 5 years ago, a lot of people used to carry cash around. Right now, a lot of people use their debit card or their credit cards, or they do all the online shopping, which are done online. So there's no physical cash that is being exchanged hands. Right now, with the smartphones, if you want to transfer or give anyone money, you do it through an app and you transfer it in an instant. So in reality, there are numbers that are being exchanged between the governments or between banks or between individuals, but there's no real cash that is actually being exchanged. And in essence, if you change cash notes, you sometimes call it black money, not white money, not traceable money, because that piece of paper cannot be traced. And that is the biggest problem they tend to have. And that is where digital money comes into existence. Now, digital money, like I've said already, now your reliance on the physical cash has moved from there to a digital sense. Now, right now, we're using credit cards, we're using PayPal, we're using the digital forms of payments. And obviously with time that is decreasing. The movement of physical cash is decreasing. You can look at your life right now and you can see how much physical cash do you actually carry. If you go to the petrol pump, you actually use your credit card to pay for your petrol. If you go to the grocery store, you use your credit card, your debit card to pay for your groceries or for your goods. If you go online to buy something, you use your card to pay for it. How much cash are we actually using right now? And now this is something which is very important for anyone to understand cryptocurrency and especially Bitcoins. The movement of cash from one place to another, the whole information is kept on a ledger with the bank. So your bank knows for a fact that you have bought this item, let's say from Apple, and you've bought an iPhone and you have paid Apple X amount. And Apple has received that amount or have not received that amount, and they will deduct that amount from your bank, and you will tell them that you have received your goods and services, and so that transaction will be completed. And that is done on a ledger where all that information is kept with the bank. Now that creates a problem, and that problem is called centralized problem, and it is known as the double cent problem. So basically the government and the bank needs to have the information that how much money you have in your account, how much money you actually have transferred, who you have sent it to it, who has received it, if they have received it, when they have received it, how much money you have left already. Now the drawback with that is something that we need to understand. The drawback literally is that whenever you give anyone control of the money supply, you give them absolute power. And absolute power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the central system can be mismanaged. And the government obviously can cancel at any time the legal status of your currency. On top of that, if anyone wants to use this system, manipulate this system, mismanage this system, they can easily manipulate it and actually increase the numbers that are in your bank account, and overnight you might become a billionaire or a millionaire and no one would be any of the wiser. One of the prime examples I can give you guys to make you understand the whole essence, there was a series that came into existence which a lot of people were watching, which was called Money Heist. And Money Heist, the whole first season is based upon a group of people that enter a bank and start printing money from that bank, and they use that printed money to become millionaires and billionaires. But if that was cryptocurrency, there would not be a season and it will not be called Money Heist. So basically that's the whole idea, that no money heist takes into existence. Now, I hope I have made you understand the whole dynamics of what a centralized system is, where one bank or one government or one central bank has all the information, everything is linked, what money is, how money has moved from being gold and silver to physical cash to the digital way that we've known it, and what the problem with the digital and the physical cash is right now, and the whole system, how it exists right now. I hope I've made that clear. If you have any questions whatsoever up to this point, you can always WhatsApp me, you can always message me on Facebook, or you can message me on Instagram or on YouTube, and I will definitely reply back to you and explain to you any misconception or any clarification that you need or want to have in this case. Now we move to the main topic that we have come on this video for, the main topic of Bitcoin. How does cryptocurrency actually solve all these problems? Now, Bitcoin basically, in October 2008, a document was published online by a guy calling himself Satoshi Nakamoto. And the document also was called white paper, suggesting a way of creating a system for a decentralized currency called Bitcoin. Who this person is, no one knows. And I'm not going to go in details of this individual, who this individual was, and what is the history behind it. I'll leave that for another video. So basically the idea was that Bitcoin came into existence and a decentralized system came into existence. I have explained to you what a centralized system is. A centralized system is where all the information of all the transactions are kept on one computer, on one supercomputer, on one ledger with a specific individual or person or government or industry or bank or whatever entity you want to call it, but it is placed in one particular existence. It is something that could be checked, and that is a closed book, is something that me or you cannot go and find out. So it's not open to the public. Only certain individuals can have access and know about what is in those ledgers. Now, the mechanism by which Bitcoin actually works is something that you guys need to understand, and this is the most important point in this video. This system claimed to create a digital money that solved the double cent problem without the need for a central authority. At its core, Bitcoin is a transparent ledger without a central authority. Now, I want to explain to you this particular information. I'm going to explain to you what this means. Basically, whenever you have a transaction that you do or you buy a Bitcoin, you buy an algorithm, and that algorithm is very, very unique. There is only one of the sort. So if anyone says they have 100 Bitcoins or 200 Bitcoins or how many Bitcoin they want, that is the amount of algorithms they have. That is something that they can exchange against something else. Basically, once you start giving value to something, once you start giving importance to something, that becomes the main essence of exchange. Right now, people are being paid salaries in Bitcoins. Bitcoin is being used to buy goods and services. Already is coming into existence with the metaverse, coming into existence with Facebook, Google, and Microsoft moving in this direction. Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these coins will be the main source of currency of buying and selling goods on the internet. Now, Bitcoin versus the bank. Basically, Bitcoin challenges the banking system. The banking ledger, obviously, since I've told you this, that since most money today is already digital, the bank basically manages its own ledger of balances and transactions. However, the bank's ledger is not transparent and it's stored on the bank's main computer. You cannot sneak a peek into the bank's ledger, and only the bank has complete control over it. So I cannot find out how much money is in an individual's bank, who is using it. Only the bank can know. There's no complete transparency available to an individual, to any government, to any country for that matter, if the bank does not show their ledgers. Now, but on the other hand, if you go to the blockchain ledger, which is the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin on the other hand is a complete transparent ledger. At any one point in time, you and I and anyone can take a sneak peek at the ledger and see exactly how much transaction and what the balances are at that particular time. And the only thing you can't find out is who owns these balances, who owns these Bitcoins, and who are behind these transactions. This is something we call pseudo-anonymous. So basically, the information is there, but we do not know who owns these Bitcoins. But that gives something which is very important. That gives a decentralized methodology where you cannot be hacked, the system cannot be taken down, because the whole idea of mining comes to existence. I've explained something in a couple of videos I've done previously on Binance, and I've explained the system by which what mining really is and how you move information, how you process information, how you mine data, how you make information from one place to another. And obviously Bitcoin, or any coin for that matter, is mined. And the information that is being mined are the transactions that are being done every single second. So instead of using one supercomputer that does all of it, they actually outsource it to 100 million different computers in the world. So if you want to take down the system, you have to actually take down the whole internet. And just imagine taking down the internet, hundreds and millions and thousands and trillions of different devices that are powered by the internet, and taking all of them down that are working together and forming into a supercomputer that are helping one another process that information and give one another a clear, clean, transparent ledger of something of value that can be used as a currency. Now, let me explain this to you by an example. As you can see over here, this is a Bitcoin. Now, this Bitcoin is being paid over here in this form right now. And obviously, this particular algorithm is unique. This is the only one that exists, and this is the only one that exists as well. You can read through it and you can check over here that they're exactly different, and that is the beauty of cryptocurrency. Every single currency that you have is unique. every single currency that you own, either it be Ethereum, Bitcoin, Sanda, ADA, Gala, any Bitcoin for that matter, BNB, BNX, anything. All of these are unique. They have a unique transaction. They're mined in a unique way, and that actually is something that gives it value. Now, I hope you've understood the concept up till now. If you have any question, you can message me and I'll try to guide you and help you as much as I can. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel and do not forget to press the bell icon, and please share these videos on Facebook so more people can actually benefit from them. Until our next video, take care. Allah Hafiz.